What made you even think to go down the road of franchising the business? Because this sounds so something I would, expect to be just in maybe a practitioner's office or a bolt on to somebody's business. But what made you go down that path of actually franchise?
It's really important in this country and in this world now where we're mobile to have an opportunity for service, regardless of where you are, that's similar. I mean, when you go in for a McDonald's hamburger, you know what you're going to get. And when you go for a Cereset office, you know what you're going to get too. Colors might be a little different in terms of the furniture. The signage won't be. And, the literature won't be, and the business cards probably not, and da 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 da. So, we have a kind of a signature sign and a plant wall. It's our golden arches, if you will. And we call it our green leaf stuff, but that's okay. It's an inside joke because it's got, plants all over it, or faux plants. You can get either one. The opportunity, though, is still that we allow a territory around each office based on, as you know this as a guru in this franchise space, MSA, or Metropolitan Statistical Area, and we allow 40,000 population per chair. So 2-chair office, and most people do get 2 chairs initially so that they can start with getting things running, and then they can have 1 chair that's pretty much available for new introductions. They can introduce this technology and do a baseline for people and let the people see. And about 93% of people that come in for introductions are people that are clients. Because once they see their brain, and then once the franchisee tells them, well, it seems that this imbalance or this disharmony may yield these things. Do you have these? Yeah. It sounds like you read my mail. Well, Mr. or Ms. Client, we did. Actually, we read your brain. That's more than your mail. So you might benefit from this kind of help for your cognition or whatever, your focus or whatever. So once those people see that, and that's why the 2 chairs, but for each chair, there's a 40,000 population that's allocated. So if you have 2 chairs, you have 80,000, and then there's kind of a circle around that office. And we also know that, some areas are very, very tight in terms of high density populations. Some are really spread out. And so we take drive time into consideration in that too. But it's based on MSA in terms of territory.
And does the territory also play a factor into demographics?
No, because let's say I started the garage door opening or garage door franchise, I would probably want my business located someplace where in an industrial area, right? And my clients, I would probably be advertising someplace where they had a lot of garage door activity.
True.
Well, our garage doors are people, and our business input is people. So we want to be where the people are. So we would encourage population office location to be appropriate to the population that you want to serve.
That makes sense. What does it typically cost for a client to get this package of, what is it, 5 sessions you said was a package?
We have a minimum advertised price of $1,500 for that 5-session package. Now, some people, some franchisees are in high rent districts and they charge $2,500, and some are in low rent areas and they charge about $1,200. That's as low as you can go. But the minimum advertised price is $1,500.
And are the centers that kind of bring back to what I was saying earlier? You're opening a Cereset center, but are there any franchisees that are doing this as an add-on to their existing practice?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Just like there are different franchises, for instance, on the freeways or interstates someplace, you might have a restaurant inside a a gas station or whatever, I mean, that's possible. And they might have a Cereset office next to a medical office or a psychiatric or psychological or psychotherapy center. They might have one with, other kinds of modalities. We did a clinical trial on pain, and I said, pain, Chuck. I'm sorry, Dr. Tegler is the head neurologist for Research Center at Wake Forest School of Medicine. And I said, and we worked together for 10 or 12 years. That story is a beautiful story too. And we really like each other too. So, but I said, I don't think pain is good. And he said, pain is good. We'll do pain. I said, okay. And there was a 50% reduction in chronic pain. And, that was pretty amazing. But the one that really got me was the one when he said, Lee, we're going to do a clinical trial for postmenopausal women with hot flashes. And I said, oh, no, we're not. I will not get anywhere close to a clinical trial with postmenopausal women. No.
Why?
I absolutely refuse.
Why? Why was that?
That's out of my wheelhouse.
your lane, huh?
Yeah. He said, you don't have to be involved. I said, oh, good.
Okay.
So he did the clinical trial, postmenopausal women with hot flashes. It was 100% successful.
What does success look like? Tell me, what does success look like? How do you measure success?
Okay. Success is always measurable by having, let's take insomnia.
Okay. I have maintenance insomnia.
We measure that by the degree of insomnia somebody has. So if they have severe to moderate insomnia, right, we take that group, and then all of those people, or 96% now, are as expected to be in mild to zero insomnia. So that's how we measure it. We measure heart rate variability. That has to improve. And then there are certain medical, physical measurements we do. Sometimes with huge stress and war, we've measured military for C-reactive protein. That usually takes a year or 2 years to bring down, a little, 5%. We were 50% in 3 weeks.
Wow. And then back to the postmenopausal women, when he did that study,
hormones kind of balanced and other things happened that we weren't expecting. Because again, we don't have to expect it. That's not our job. Our job is to help our clients be the best possible people they can be. And when that happens with their brain driving, and the brain is the best possible it can be, guess what?
And that's what this is all about at the end of the day, right? We want longevity. We don't want to just live longer, but we want to live healthy, be healthier longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you don't give me quality of life, don't give me quantity.
This is quite amazing. Lee, how do we scale this thing quicker? I know you're saying you're ready. You're ready to have this thing scale quicker. How do you know when you can do that, and what's your vision?
Well, I think we're just getting enough attention where we're getting our toe in the water of that, because we've got a couple of franchisees now who have purchased multiple offices, and the reason up front, and the reason they did that was because they themselves wanted to pull together this cadre of people who they could have fun with, if you will, and they were likes, right? I mean, on the school ground, when I like that kid, or that's the kid you're going to get on the merry-go-round with, or whatever, the one that you like, and so they then can choose their own group of folk who they like, and that's what's happened. But what will happen is there will be a viral presentation sometime. We have to be careful of that, because we're tipping over some apple carts. We're a disruptor. We didn't mean to be a disruptor. The last thing I intended to be in my life was a disruptor. I mean, I just wanted to play nice, but sometimes you can't play nice and win. So you have to play tough. And so we're ready to be a little tougher now. And we're bringing out the fact that, hey, these medications are going to cause this. And we're not saying it. Clinical trials are saying it, and we're just taking it to the public. In fact, I'm going to do a webinar on that for the public, that very thing, Thursday. And some people are going to be shocked. Well, okay, get over it. Because we're more important than a product.
Is there any sort of FDA approval needed for this? Again, it's a service, not a product, but
no.
Why? And tell us why.
Because it's totally non-invasive. It's in the health and wellness space. It's not in the medical space. We do have to be careful of our language. So we don't publicly use anything like any identifiable diagnoses, including insomnia, publicly, unless we're talking about a clinical trial, or unless we're talking about a experience from COVID. A lot of people developed insomnia from COVID. And when it's COVID-caused insomnia, it's not a diagnosis, it's a condition, and we can talk about it. So COVID actually helped us open up the floodgates a little bit in terms of our languaging. And so we're just coming out this year. We're working on now, it's coming soon with a new website that's going to be a lot more testy, if you will, in the language part. And we're going to be excited to see that. And COVID helped us do that. It also helped us to build a protocol, which is in fact anti-aging. And for younger people, we call it mental clarity because it helps eliminates things like ADD and concentration and memory issues. So students are going to be, serious students are going to love us.
What about a new franchise? If I open one in Tampa, I don't know. Do you have a location in Tampa?
No.
Okay. If I was in Tampa and I opened a location, what are some of the most popular ways that I'm doing a market to attract getting clients if nobody's heard of Cereset in my area?
Well, first of all, if you're just moving to Tampa, I would be cautious because you wouldn't have a circle of influence. So I'm assuming that somebody that's going to open an office in Tampa already has a circle of influence, and then they start using that circle of influence. And in the first 3 to 4 months using Cereset, they're going to do demonstration sessions within a couple of weeks. And usually the husband and wife will be doing them if they're both involved on each other, because they'll both want to say, well, you need this. Well, no, you need it. Okay. But they will do demonstration sessions, and then that's what the word will start getting out. Many people have a full book of business for weeks before they ever open their door.
Really?
Really. And what we advised them to do was, do you have a healthcare practitioner? Or, do you know him or her very well? Why don't do you have a pediatrician? Do you have a dentist? Do you have a psychotherapist, or do you know some? They have problems. Hey, do you have a sleep issue? Come on in here. Let me give you a demonstration. And then you have some people where while you're training, and before you actually have a official opening, so you're not taking money necessarily, but some of them told me they took a lot of free dinners or whatever, and I thought that worked.
well, thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.